All right, we are live here. Hello, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Joanna Indharazim, and many have started calling me a medicine woman for the soul. And I provide healing, awakening, and partnership work, which supports successful women luminaries, entrepreneurs, and visionaries to make the sacred shift with their life's biggest challenges so that they can rise into their full destiny without sacrificing their sanity or their soul. And I just wanted to get on here for a few minutes here because I just got off a session with a client who is definitely in the midst, knee deep, of a dark night of the soul. And for those of you who don't know what a dark night of the soul is, a lot of people have heard the term. It's really an initiation that was spoken about by St. John of the Cross, who basically, in essence, shared that a dark night of the soul is really our opportunity to have an initiatory experience that helps us get closer to the divine. And so I wanted to call this live stream today, Shifting Your Dark Night of the Soul into Magic. And how is it that we do that? So I just wanted to share with you personally that this fall has been full of deep initiations for me personally. I have been, and I guess I had a thought that I was kind of able to handle a lot of intensity, and I am. Intensity is relative to capacity. And I have to say that this fall, between the fires up here in the Bay Area, along with major partnership initiation, followed by a profound experience of rebirthing, and then having my father pass away 2 weeks ago, it has been like shadow, firestorm, death, and rebirth, like within the period of 3 or 4 months. And it's so easy, I thought, that it's just so easy to get lost in all of the symptoms. It's so easy to get lost in all the manifestations of fear and terror and body sensations that can go on for a long time when we're really, really activated. So I wanted to just get on here today and offer just a couple helpful questions to ask yourself if you are going through a dark night of the soul experience, if you're going through what feels like a really shadowy time. And I know there are so many of us during this holiday season, and it's getting colder, and we're all incubating and going inside deeper because we're not outside maybe as much. We're facing a lot, and no matter what the happy, fluffy pictures on Facebook of everyone else's profiles might lead you to believe otherwise, there's a lot of initiation and deep descent going on right now. So I wanted to offer these questions because I think they'll be helpful in being able to pull out what your own unique initiation into the darkness might actually be trying to share with you. So one of the first questions that I encourage my client to try on today, and I want to share with you, which I've also used myself, is what is this initiation asking of me? What am I being asked to do, feel, experience, and open up to? What am I being asked to grow and develop? And these are really difficult and sort of like, they're really soul penetrating questions because they ask us to go outside the initial state of experience, which can feel, I can certainly feel like a victim in the very, very beginning of something happening. It's a normal part of the journey. And then asking the questions that broaden and deepen the perspective to something larger. So what is being asked of you? If you're going through something difficult right now, that's what we're talking about. Something deep, something where you are being initiated into, you don't even know what it is. You just know that you're experiencing a lot of symptoms. I would encourage you to ask, what is this asking of you? What are you being asked to grow? What are you being asked to deepen? Another question that I really love is, what is this asking me to learn of myself? You know, when I went through the fires, it was so easy to be so terrified. I'd never been so terrified in my whole life. And they weren't just wildfires, as most of you might know, the North Bay fires that we experienced about maybe just like a month and a half ago. It wasn't just, hi, Adi, hi, Ashra, great to see you too. Thank you for being here. The fires weren't just an experience of like going through this terrified experience. There were firestorms because of the wind that was involved, and because of the speed at which the fires moved. And it definitely felt like an hi, sweetheart, hello. It definitely felt like it was a firestorm outside and inside, because at the same time that the fires were raging outside, I was being asked to go through major partner shift and evolution that had me literally on my knees, curled up in a ball for a while. Thank you, thank you. So I had to really ask, what is being asked of me? What is being, what am I actually being asked to burn down inside? What is this asking of me to grow? And what is it asking me to look at? You know, what is it asking me to look at? And I say these questions knowing that they're really, really, really hard sometimes to answer. They're not popular, they're not easy, they're not comfortable, but neither is staying in your deep state of suffering when deep experiences plop right in your inbox and go, hello, here I am. Are you going to deal with me? I hope so. And how do we move this along? Really, how do we open up to what it is that is being asked of us so that we can deepen? One of the other questions that I ask often is, what part of this might this be initiating me? So that's a good question to get ahead and try on a vision of, if I'm going through massive firestorms on the outside and on the inside, what is the potential of what it is that could be opened for me maybe 2 months down the line, 3 months? I mean, I'll share with you the trajectory of what happened was the firestorms were here. I went through a massive initiation, descent in my own partnership, one of the deepest that we have ever gone through. And then I had the experience of being rebirthed in the most amazing transformational workshop that I had ever been to. And then 2 weeks after that, my father died. And it was like, oh my gosh, so much descent and initiation. And I can tell you from the place I'm at now, though I'm still integrating a lot, is that I feel a huge sense of rebirth. I got really intimate with this idea of mulch and ash, right? Because there was so much of that after the fires. We drove up to Santa Rosa and we're just seeing so much ash and mulch everywhere. And so I kept fast forwarding with the mulch to go deeper and to really get intimate with that. I'm still not done with that. But I can see now that I was being set up for such a deep rebirth. And my faith in the divine is deepened, and my devotion to my own transformation and awakening process has definitely strengthened. And it's shifting. So I'm offering these questions because they shift, they help you open up, they help you expand, they help you go deeper with your own edges in the places that you know. And these are not questions that I believe are one-time questions. They're questions that you can keep asking them. Like, I'm still asking myself, what might this really be opening me up to? What part of my future self might this be opening me up to? And that is really fruitful. It's not okay, I'll just ask this question once and then I won't ever have to ask it again. These are repeating questions that we can all inquire into, and we can continue to get lots of what I call soul mileage out of it. Because if you're watching this, and I trust that you are, you're on a deep journey. You're on an evolutionary journey. You have faced the fact that the deep evolutionary work is the main game in town, and you're on that path. And so how do we keep getting more mileage for the most efficient ways to keep going and to keep doing this a whole lot deeper? So because the goal is like, how do we keep shifting in the places that even our egos and the places where we're identified that we think are not sacred? You know, it's really easy when we're having a difficult relationship issue like I was having, or to go through the firestorms, or even my dad's, you know, passing, to see that as not being sacred. And because I'm here to make the sacred shift in every single part of life possible and imaginable, and especially the ones that people put as being off limits, or people judge as being disgusting or messy or untouchable. Those are the things that come up in a dark night of the soul, or deep, vulnerable, messy, difficult humanity. And those are the things that my stake in the ground for love and understanding in this life are connected to shifting. Those are what I'm here for. I trust that we're all in this together. And so another question that I ask is, like, what good is going to come out of this? What good is going to come out of these firestorms? What good is going to come out of getting rebirth? What good is going to come out of a major, as far as I could see it, and I felt really decimated during this particular partnership initiation. What good is going to come out of that? And all the answers, when I kept writing and kept asking, sometimes I'll ask the question out loud, like, what good is going to come out of this? What is this seeding in me? What is this seeding in me? And to keep that big picture perspective, that what it's seeding in me is actually something I might not even be able to see in that moment, but I can try on through the lens of vision and imagination and the bigness of who I am, which is no different from the bigness of who you are, trying it on for size. Let yourself try it on for size. Yeah, exactly. What good is coming? That's great. I'm glad to know there's other people who ask that. Yay. And also to never forget that what we're going through is an initiation into our divine, sacred, God, goddess, like whatever word works for you. For me, it's sacred nature. Like, to have everything come home into the sacred is my stake in the ground in this lifetime. And I imagine each of you have your stake in the grounds as well, and that somewhere those meet for all of us. And so I always think of what part of my divine nature is coming for me, what part of the sacred that I don't already have inside of me, or that I don't recognize, or that I don't embody, what of that is coming for me. And throughout all of these, it's like there's been so much, there's so many gifts that still continue to reveal themselves, because I'm still in the ask, the sacred ask. It's like just even the question, even if I don't have an answer in the moment, even if I get the same answer. Like, sometimes I can get frustrated that I get the same answer, or my Aries moon will get a little impatient, be like, yeah, well, you said that yesterday. And I have to remind myself to really shift into the sacred in that moment. It's like, but that's what's here. And if I'm seeing it again today, as I did yesterday, or even the day before, that's also really sacred. That's for me to receive. There's more here for me. There's more that's meant to generate and unfold for me. So let yourself be patient. Let yourself be really patient in this journey, because it requires it. And from being a formerly quite impatient person, I can vouch for the fact that every time I got impatient and left something, was a temporary resting spot, not really, but sort of in my mind, until I could be bigger and more understanding and more patient to receive what was actually trying to come through. So be patient during your initiations, be patient during the discovery process, be spacious in your patience. It's actually like giving lots of space to all of your parts inside, which, if you really tune in, those are really probably really grateful and thankful to not be pushed around by irritation, which is a form of impatience, or words or self-talk from you that you're not there yet, or you should be somewhere else, or this is not acceptable for whatever reason. So yeah, be spacious, be patient, ask yourself, what are you here to learn? What is trying to grow? What is trying to be born inside of you? That's another great question in this process. Like, what's trying to get born? Or what's trying to die? I do ask myself those questions as well. What's trying to get born? What's trying to die? Really good sacred shifting questions. And then the last question that I'll share with you that I ask is, and I've been really opening up this a lot lately, is, how can I make this a great adventure? I haven't always been able to make this a great adventure for whatever reason. I thought about it in the big picture as an adventure, but not been able to really carry that sense of excitement and curiosity with stability through the inquiry process of what's going on. So it is a big adventure, whether we whether we decide to consciously own it as one, or whether we resist it kicking and screaming all the way. That's another kind of adventure. And kind of like the book series that was around in the early 80s when I was a child growing up. 70s and 80s was most of the 80s. You know, we get to choose our own adventure. So we get to choose how we have our adventure. We get to choose what questions we ask. We get to choose our supports and our allies along the way. And so I just want to invite you, is like, how can this be a great adventure of learning and discovery and expansion? Right? So I'm sure I will have more to share about this. I'm just going to check on the comments and see if there's any questions. Thank you all for staying with me. Appreciate it. It's been great to see you, and I've enjoyed this tremendously. And if you are somebody who is interested in shifting your dark night of the soul into more magic, I'd love to invite you to reach out to me. Thank you so much, Simone. Thank you for being here and for enjoying this with me, and feel free to share it with those that you think may be of benefit. And if you are one of those people that is currently experiencing a dark night of the soul and you would like to shift into deeper magic with it, I would love to chat with you and see how I can support you that further. I would love to do that. So I hope you'll reach out to me, and in the meantime, I just wish you a beautiful day filled with lots of shifting magic in all the most sacred of ways. Thank you. Bye-bye.